right, here's our video calculating slugging percentage with Babe Ruth in the background, a young Babe Ruth when he's with the Red Sox. So, we used to think in baseball, and many people still do, about just the average, your batting average. The batting average is one of the oldest, still used. It's still in people's mind. Think about Ted Williams in 1941. He hit 406. It's incredible to hit 406. And no one has done it since. But let's look about what average does and what slugging percentage does and see the difference. Because average leaves out walks and it treats every hit equally. That's the most important thing to know. It treats every hit equally. So if you get a double or if you get a triple, it doesn't matter with average. But with slugging percentage, it does. Let's look at something. All right, we have our baseball up. So let's say that you had 10 appearances. They call it 10 plate appearances. 10 plate appearances. You went to the plate 10 times. Now, when you walk in baseball, it's not counted as an official at bat. So let's say that you had one walk. Well, if you had one walk, that means you only have 9 official plate appearances. So that's to keep in mind with walks. But let's say you had 10 plate appearances and one walk. That means you went to the plate 11 times, but that one walk means you don't have an official at bat. And let's say you had 3 hits. So you had 3 hits out of 10 plate appearances. Your batting average, that's 30%, but in baseball we'll say 300, which is great in baseball. 300 is absolutely great in baseball. Just think about something in baseball. 30% in school is horrible. But in baseball, it's excellent. So again, this was average, your batting average, your mean. And it doesn't take in consideration what those hits were. What were these? Let's get a little green pen here. What were these hits? Well, they could have been a home run. They could have been a double. They could have been a triple. It wouldn't matter. It's all equal when you're talking about batting average. But when you're talking about slugging percentages, every hit is different. So obviously a home run is worth more than a double. So let's look at slugging percentage. And why don't we use Babe Ruth? We'll use Babe Ruth since we had a picture of him. And many people still call him the home run king. Many people call him the greatest baseball player of all time. Very debatable. But if we look at 1927, that was a good year for Ruth. He hit 60 home runs, which was a record until 1961, where Roger Maris hit 61. And then Aaron Judge, in 2022, hit 62. So that's the AL record, and the NL record is 73 by Barry Bonds, which, there's a lot of debate in that also. So let's just stick with that. Babe Ruth hitting 60 home runs in 1927. No one's even close to that. Let's look at his at-bats. So he had 540 at-bats. He had a total of 192 hits. So if we break down those hits, the doubles, he had 29 doubles. Triples, he had 8. Home runs, we said, he had 60. And just singles, we'll just say first base. The singles he had were 95. So if you take his plate appearances, 540, and his total hits right here, you'll get his batting average. So what do you think his batting average was? Why don't you try it? All right, what'd you get? Change the color. So remember, he had a total of 192 hits and 540 plate appearances. So again, we're not considering what was his hits, even though we're seeing them. And if we divide that out, he had an excellent batting average of 356. Outstanding. But what was his slugging percentages? That's what we're going to talk about now. So let's clear this out. And remember, we'll say his average over here was 356. But what slugging percentage does is it has to take and consider all values of these hits. So if you get a single, it's just worth 1 point. So let's write the formula. So he had 95 singles, plus he had 29 doubles, which is worth 2 points. He had 8 triples, which was worth 3 points. And he had 60 home runs, which is worth 4 points. So you have to add all those, do the multiplication, get all that, and divide it by his plate appearances. And you'll get his slugging percentage. So what'd you get? Just pause the tape if you want to get it. Well, Ruth's slugging percentages was .772, which is beyond outstanding. And if you think about, if we go back to Ted Williams, remember I said let's put Ted Williams here. Ted Williams, who has the record right now, he hit .406 in 1941. That was his batting average. His slugging percentage is .735, which is again beyond outstanding. You also mentioned Aaron Judge. So if we talk about Judge, his slugging percentage when he hit those 62 home runs was .706. Again, it's beyond outstanding. Anything 700 or 600 is outstanding. In fact, people think anything like 500 they would consider good. Anything beyond that is really good. So if that's even a word, really good, we'll use it. Why not? So that's how you get slugging percentage. Let's do one more. All right, let's take Barry Bonds. And he's the home run king right now. And a lot of people think he's not in the Hall of Fame because of the steroids, which, there's, limited proof he did. A lot of people think he did. So anyway, let's just look at some of his stats because he holds the record in home runs and slugging percentage. They call his numbers Ruthian numbers because if we look at 2001, so let's look at that. What should we use? Use that color, purple. So in 2001, right over here, 2001, at age 35, which is actually, I believe he was 36, something like that. But anyway, at an age when you think people are declining, he was not declining. So in 2001, he had 476 at-bats, plate appearances. Remember, he had much more plate appearances that weren't official because he had a tremendous amount of walks. They just kept walking him. But 476 plate appearances. He had a total of 156 hits. What was his average? So do his average first. Again, with average, it doesn't take into consideration what those hits were. So if you work out the average, and we'll do that, and also we'll work his slugging percentages. So he had 73 home runs. That's the record, 73 home runs. He had 2 triples, hitting all those home runs. He had 31 doubles. And so if we take in consideration that, you should be able to get his slugging percentage also. So what'd you get? All right, use red. So let's get his average first. So his batting average was 156 plate appearances over the total amount of at-bats was 476. Fix that 6. So his batting average was about .3277, right? So they'll just round it to 328, which is outstanding. It's a great batting average, 328. Let's look at his slugging percentage, though. So remember, each value he had, if you look at this, he had 156 hits, and these are the home runs, triples, and doubles. How many singles did he have? Well, he had 50. Just do the math on that. Plus, he had 31 doubles times 2. Plus, he had 2 triples times 3. And plus, use another color, green, going into the seams over here. I'll do it over here, why not? Plus, he had 73 home runs times 4. You got to do all that sum and divide by 476. And what did you get? Beyond outstanding, universal, a .862. That's incredible. That's the record. So, what is a better indication of a batter? Perhaps slugging percentage. But there's others now. We'll also talk about later in other videos, like on base percentage. But that's our video today.